Hi, everybody. This is Gertrude Mache here in sunny Wellington, New Zealand. Welcome again to the Her Story podcast. I have the honor of interviewing yet another fascinating lady coming all the way from the United States. Erin, hi, how are you this morning?
I'm great, Gertrude. Thank you for having me.
Please tell everybody your full name, where you're based, how old you are, and share your story with us today.
Absolutely. Like Gertrude said, I'm in Mississippi. I'm Erin Jacobs Stagner. I'm 34 now. So my story starts about 12 years ago. My daughter was born, healthy baby, beautiful, all of her toes and fingers and all of her body parts. And we brought her home and we made a few mistakes because let's be honest, first time parents make mistakes, right? So I didn't know this. Apparently, you have to warm a bottle up before you give it to a baby. Didn't know that. So the poor kid got cold bottles for a couple days, but she survived. Anyway, we got to noticing as Maggie progressed that she wasn't meeting her milestones like normal kids would meet them. So we, of course, went to the pediatrician like you do for all your well baby checkups. And I was hard-headed about this. I'm thinking, oh, she's just going to take her time. She's going to be a little bit slower than everybody else. It's not a big issue. So the first your birthday rolled around and she wasn't quite talking yet. She would crawl, but she just didn't really enjoy it. So second birthday rolled around and she's even further behind. She still isn't walking unassisted. She still doesn't speak like other children speak her age. And the pediatrician and I went round and round about this. You need to have her assessed, and I'm hard-headed and I'm not going to do that. And I just think, we need to just give her some time. Okay, so we fast forward a little bit and Maggie starts going to school. And it becomes even more apparent, we're way behind compared to other 4-year-olds and other 5-year-olds. So we talked about with the pediatrician a developmental delayed class for kids who are a little bit behind. And things went from okay to worse because she was put in a room with kids who were even further behind than her, and everything started to go backwards. So we pulled Maggie out of that situation and we took her into a private school where she would have a lot more one-on-one time. And that really helped the situation, but it just wasn't quite enough. Okay. So now we're looking at first grade and we have a lot of speech issues. We have a lot of physical problems as far as movement and gait and things like that. And it really is a significant problem at this point.
I'm going to stop you there for a minute. Yeah. I'm going to stop you there for a minute because there's a lot of young moms who are probably, listening to your story and probably experiencing something similar. Did you at any point sense or just have a gut feeling something was off? Because a lot of times young moms don't even know what's going on, but their intuition tells them something. What was that like for you?
Sure. At first, I was, your typical response to things when they go wrong. First, you want to deny it. Then you want to be angry about it. And then you start to accept it. And it really took me a long time to get through those first two stages. In fact, it took me almost 10 years to get through those first two stages of, okay, there's nothing wrong with her. She's just going to be a little bit slower than everybody else. And by the time we got to first grade, I was angry about it. Like, this is not fair. She's not going to be treated like other kids. Now we're going to have to go through all these therapies and all of this. And we did that. We took the traditional route. We did physical therapy. We did occupational therapy. We had speech therapy at school. We put her in a special purpose school where she would have accommodations and she would be with other kids that had disabilities even more severe than hers and some not as severe as hers. So we tried to take every route we could to make her life as easy and as successful as possible. Okay. It took me until she was 10 or 11 to realize that this is not going to get a whole lot better. We're looking at a situation now of where is that ceiling? Where is Maggie going to get to where that's it? Like Maggie may not ever drive a car. You know,
Oh,
Maggie may not ever be able to manage her own bank account.
wow. And how did that feel to have,
Oh,
reached such a low point?
it crushed me as a mom. You feel helpless at that point. You're
Mm.
like, I fought for this child and I've done all these things to try to help her in every way that I can and done all of this work. And now I realize that this is out of my hands. There's nothing else I can do in this situation besides help her do the things that she's good at and try to make up the difference as best as I can. And it took my husband and I realizing that, we have 2 other children who are neurotypical, and it's like somebody's going to have to take care of her.
Mm.
She'll be able to live by herself, but she won't be able to go get her own groceries and figure the money and pay for it and
Yeah.
make sure that there's enough money in the account to handle it. She won't be able to realize, okay, hey, I'm out of shampoo and I need to go to the store and get it. Or I've got to be at work at a certain time, so I have to get up a little bit earlier, or I have to go to bed at this particular time to get up. So she's going to be able to live somewhat by herself, but she'll have to have some assistance for the rest of her life. And that was the part where it's like, wow, there's a lot to this that I didn't think was going to be a part of my life.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know that it was going to be like this.
Oh. So what have you done with this situation?
I have made it my mission and my purpose in life to help other special needs parents in these situations and other professionals to try to come up with a solution for these kids, or at
Mm.
least some form of assistance. You have a lot of children, especially that I've seen with my own daughter's friends, that have special things that they need. Like they need a little bit of extra time. They can do what you've asked them to do, but
Mhm.
they're going to need a few extra minutes, or they're going to need you to explain it to them again, or they're going to need some help opening a soda can because they just can't quite get it. They can do it, but they may need some
Yeah.
help. And I think the biggest thing for me is realizing that these kids are not their disability.
Mhm.
And my patients hear this over and over again, and I try to make this my motto when I talk to special needs parents, is that your progeny is not just their biology. There's so much more than what's wrong with them. And I don't even like saying that it's wrong with them. It's how God made them. There's so much more than that, though. We tend to, like, people will look at my daughter and there's something wrong with her.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's so many other things that she can do and do well that
Yes.
overshadow all of that stuff that may be quote unquote wrong with her. So it's my goal to help people see that, to empower them to what the potential is for these children. And
Yes.
even as they become adults, to realize that they can be citizens that are successful and prosperous, and it's just not going to look like what you think it should look like.
Oh, wow. I have a friend who has a special needs son.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very interesting book, but the opening of her book is a little story called Welcome to Holland. You can Google this. It talks about a woman who thought she was going to France. She prepared for this journey. She was pregnant. She packed her bags. She got ready to get to where she was going. And when she got there, the first person she met said, "Welcome to Holland." And she talks about how it was like learning a completely new language, a completely new way of being, because everything that she had envisaged in having a child was completely different. She had to learn a whole new set of tools. And it sounds to me like that's what you've managed to do quite successfully, and now you're helping other people do the same.
Yes. And you know what's special about Holland? Tulips.
Yes.
And that's the key when you look at these kids and these parents, and you have to go, okay, yes, it's different. And yes, it's not your normal, whatever that means. But there's
Yes.
something special in this that is so awesome that if you just focus on the special, and you try not to focus on the, okay, yeah, they're going to have a bad day every once in a while, or yeah, they're going to have, They're not going to have a great moment in a crowd or at the store or something like that. But there are these things that are so awesome that overwhelm all of that.
Oh, wow. That's a beautiful way to look at it. And you're right, because they say that life is beautiful if you know where to look.
Exactly.
So you get to Holland and there's tulips. I really like that. I like that. It's a beautiful analogy for life.
Yes, absolutely.
Amazing thing. So you're going to be speaking at the Her Story conference?
Yes.
Fantastic. And I really hope that you run some workshops while you're there. This is a subject that is going to touch on so many women's lives who are in a similar position.
Exactly.
And I hope that we get to meet in person one of these days, because I am coming to the United States for some of the conferences. So thank you so much for coming online today and doing the podcast.
Thank you for having me. It's been such a pleasure.
Thanks so much, Erin.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.